Hello and good evening, everyone. So, very happy to be back with you. I took a few days off, and now I'm back online with you. So, tonight, the theme, the topic of our live is entitled, Is Healing Painful? So, for most of you, I would say that you have probably experienced a healing session, and from the people I know as well, the experience of healing uh, has been somewhat painful. So the question is healing painful? The short answer is, well, it can be, but it doesn't have to be that way. So most of the people I've known have experienced some sort of strong reaction through the phase of the healing. And why is that? So first of all, what happens during a healing period? Healing means that all of the deepest wounds that you have are going to be let's say triggered, not to hurt you more, but for it to heal, because you need to it needs to come up to the surface for you to then get the awareness and have the healing process. Hi, whoever is watching, please say hi. And if you're watching the replay, put replay or put an emoji or comment. So coming back to the topic of tonight, so what happens is when you go through this healing, all of the unresolved issues or feelings or emotions, the painful one that you didn't want to deal with, are going to appear and be brought up to light for the healing to happen. And the reason why it can be painful is because there are memories associated with these emotions, and the emotions themselves are actually not pleasant. So it's a question of embracing it and at the same time letting go of the pain and the memory associated with it. And when that healing happens, the reason why it's sometimes more painful than we wish it to be is because most of us, we tend not to let go. We tend not want to let go because at times we have identified ourselves, our identity has become merged with whatever negative experience we've had, or whatever trauma we've been through, or whatever drama we have experienced, and it's become intertwined with who we think we are. And when we are asked to let go of that negativity, of that trauma, or that aspect of ourselves that does no longer serve us, there is a part of us that got used to it, that got comfortable with that negativity, and therefore is struggling to let go. And the more you're resisting the letting go, the more pain it's going to create, and the more painful the experience of healing is going to be. So I hope it makes sense what I'm saying. So again, when we refuse to let go of whatever trauma, negative situations, negative emotions that no longer serves us, what happens is we are resisting, and this is that resistance that creates this very strong reaction and very strong painful experience. If we were more into, well, okay, that's fine, I've had that stuff and now I'm letting it go, I'm done and I'm moving on, it will be a much smoother experience. And the more comfortable we are of embracing whatever we have and let go of it and process it quickly, the less painful it will be. Hi, Sherilyn, how are you? Happy to have you with us tonight. So the theme I'm talking about tonight is healing, and it is painful. So I don't know how much you heard of it, but the gist of this live is about the experience of healing that can be painful or not, and whether we allow that part of us that no longer serves us to go, the easier we make it go and we allow it to just be cleared and disappear from our being, from our existence, from our vibes, energy, the smoother the healing process will be. So, for example, I'm going to share a personal experience. I did a healing session a few weeks ago, and it was related to, let's say, a painful experience. It was a long process. So when I finished that healing, I had a huge burning pain here. I think I did a live as well around that. And the reason why it lasted quite a bit and the reason why it was so painful was because I was struggling with the idea of my life being no longer a struggle, which is odd, right? Because to some degree, I had associated my identity with having to suffer. So suffering somehow had become a part of me. And because I had been carrying that with me for a while, actually for many years, thinking or realizing or accepting that could no longer be there, and I had to just be me and expand even more, even though this is something that I've strongly desired for a long time. When the time came to finally let go of it, of that negativity, of that heaviness, and step into my power and embrace it and expand and explore this other side of me that wants to grow and expand and thrive, all of a sudden, apparently, somehow, I felt fearful, and therefore I held on to that pain because I was still in that detaching myself from that part of me that had become a part of my identity, and that I then had to decide to no longer need in my life because that was very damaging and very detrimental to my growth and progress. So this is a very important aspect of healing to understand. It's one thing to say that you want to heal. It's another to accept, step into your own power and decide to let go of that part that you no longer need. Once you make that choice, it's a very powerful one. That's why people change within a second. I think it's Tony Robbins that says that your life can change within a heartbeat. Why? Because this is at that moment that you make that decision that your life changes. Because you step into a new direction and you don't look back. That moment when you decide is life-changing, obviously. And the more hesitant you are, and if you keep looking back, that's where the pain comes from. That's what creates the resistance, the painful experience of the healing process. So if you get this, you will make your healing experience smoother and quicker, and it won't drag for years or months. It can take time, obviously, but the time that it will take is not because you're going to struggle to release whatever you need to release. It's going to be because we have several layers of stuff that we have accumulated throughout our life, whether it's current, past, or future, can be through different dimensions. Not going to go into that right now, but the time that it will take will not be related to you being indecisive about the letting go process. It's going to be because you keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper, because you're doing a deep cleansing and a deep clearing and a deep healing, so that you are totally free to keep growing, keep expanding, and keep evolving, and keep experiencing more and more bliss and happiness and prosperity and fun and joy in your life. So Sherilyn says, so true, the pain stays if I keep looking back. Exactly. So once you become aware of that formula, you can make that decision of how you want to continue to experience your healing process. See, we have power actually on a lot of things. And sometimes we don't know that we do, because we have lived in a certain way. We have lived in a certain way of thinking, of living, of feeling, and we don't realize at times that we have had that power all along. And maybe because we have not been educated or trained, or we didn't know, that's why we haven't embraced it yet. But once we have that knowledge and we implement it, this is when the life can take a really quicker pace, and we can experience exponential growth, because we have the right tools and we understand how all of this works. So that was it for tonight. I wanted to share that with you because I've been going through a lot of healing lately. Some were quite, let's say, smooth and empowering at the same time, and others have been very painful. And I'm learning to let go. I'm learning to release that part of myself that had become my identity for a long time. It's almost as if it would, sometimes we have these funny associations, we have this funny experience of what life has been for us. So personally, in my experience of life, the more pain I would have, it's almost as if the more praise I would get. Like when you're a warrior, you deserve so much praise and recognition. So it's not something that you might do consciously, but maybe this is something that you've been somehow trained as a child. If you're working hard, or if you are experiencing a lot of struggles, wow, this is so impressive, and you will get the praise and the recognition and all of that. will kind of lead how your experience of life is going to be. So when you see the truth for what it is, then you can make healthier decisions and better decisions for yourself. And when I understood that I had that pattern, I decided that it was no longer serving me, and I want to experience a life of bliss and a life of happiness, that everything comes to me very smoothly and easily and happily, and I don't need to impress my parents through the pain. I can share more and more love with them, and expand that light and energy that I keep cultivating within myself through my connection to source. This is the most powerful impact you can have on yourself and on others. So that was my experience that I shared with you. So if you have something that you realized and you want to share, please do. It's always good to share because it inspires others. It helps other people to also make that step if they are still hesitating. So this is a very supportive environment, which I encourage you to participate in. So yeah, so any questions tonight? Sherilyn, do you have a question, or was that clear to you? Is that something that you experience yourself? Any takeaway for tonight? So on that, so if there is no further question, I'm going to wish you a really good night, and have just reflect on it, meditate on what I said, because that is going to make a huge difference in how you're going to embrace your healing journey. And you can make it very light, fun, and joyful. Can you imagine? It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to be, like, so it's very empowering, right? So, okay, Sharon said, no, that was great. Thank you. Quite enlightening. Excellent. Well, I'm very happy tonight that you got that new awareness, Sherilyn, and to the other members, please keep commenting, and if it would be great if I could have you live as well, because the more live interaction we have, the more fun it is, right? So on that note, I wish you a good night, and I will speak to you in my next video. Bye bye.